I am Loie Merritt. I play Nurse Kitty on Family Practice. This is pilot number 1. We were all pretty excited to go out to Central Islip. I had never been there, never been to Long Island. So it was an adventure. And here, Robert, I hadn't worked with him before. He's amazing as Dr. Family. He really does drive that poorly. I'm kidding. He's really sweet. This is a real doctor's office. They had shut down on Wednesdays, so we were able to have free reign, just us actors. I'm not quite sure why they trusted us with equipment and top secret files and whatnot, but we had our playground.
Hello, I'm Eric Norcross. I directed, shot, and edited all of the Family Practice episodes on this DVD series. You're looking at Pilot 1. For some reason, Episode 1 is never called Episode 1 with television series. It's always called Pilot 1. They normally do 2 pilots. They'll do Pilot 1 and Pilot 2, and after that, it goes on to episodes. So just like with Family Practice, Pilot 1, Pilot 2, Episode 3, Episode 4, Episode 5, Episode 6, and so forth. And this little mini-series here has 6 episodes. We shot the first pilot on June 10th, 2009. And we basically went out to Central Islip where Robert, who plays Dr. Family, met us with that green van. It was Jan, Loie, and myself, as well as Jack Moran, and he took us to Bayshore where this doctor's office is located, and we just kind of shot the entire episode in one day.
All of these characters were just amazing. I think we all just pulled it out of a hat, and when we all started working together, it was really, really fun.
Jan wrote the script based on Robert's concept. He'd had the idea of Dr. Family floating around in his head for quite a long time. And he had a lot of the cast in mind already. A lot of the people you see in this particular episode were already, sort of written. And Jan just kind of took the ideas, the descriptions and whatnot, and put it into this script called Rabies Man.
Hi, my name is Jan Major, and I played Bunny and wrote most of the episodes. That's me, looking scared and confused. So, essentially, what I was thinking of when I wrote it was just this strange, zany office where anything could happen. I mean, of course, no doctor's office would really be like this, but hey, that's entertainment for you. So, that guy going around is Bob Sachi, and he has rabies in this episode. I just thought it would be really funny, even though rabies is a fairly horrible disease. I thought it would be funny to give a character rabies and have him just essentially act like a mad dog.
I made an appointment. I made an appointment a long time ago.
I'm not. He's treating people.
What about me? I gotta be treated.
Well, why don't you look at that? That's for Bob.
I love it. All we ever do is hand out pamphlets on this show. No medical training whatsoever. But pay close attention to all the signs posted in this medical office. They're quite interesting. So Bunny, the new girl at the office, she really hates us. I mean, I think Nurse Kitty is lovely. And Dr. Family, who wouldn't want him as a doctor?
This is where Bob Sachi, does his thing. Bob Sachi is a horror person, okay? And the only reason he really did this scene was, well, there were 2 reasons. One, Robert Youngren asked him, and he's really good friends with Robert Youngren. So that in itself is a reason to say yes. The other reason was he got the foam at the lips. And being a horror person, to invent a way to foam at the lips was a project all on its own. And I think it's those types of things that Bob Sachi enjoys. So you get to see some of that foaming. It's not quite, prevalent as far as the being a big part of the scene, but I just saw some drip out, so there you go.
I'd love to tell you what was in that folder. It's actually absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. You get the inside scoop here from Nurse Kitty.
We've never done rabies shots as long as I've been in practice. I think you really need to calm down. How about a cracker? All right. But we do know where you can get a rabies shot. We recommend that you go to the veterinarian. In fact, we have one that we use for our own cat.
He's a great vet, too.
He's a great vet,
really
and they have all...
Where they came up with Kitty and Bunny, I don't know. Kitty seems to be fitting for my high-toned character. Love Robert. Oh, and there I am. Jan's great, angry, fierce, and Matthew from Central Islip. Oh, and Bob. You'll see him again. I think it's really great. We've got all ages in family practice. All different skill sets. Some people not even actors, other people lifelong. It was pretty incredible.
Okay, so basically these top two shelves and all the way over, those are old charts, and so you'll have nothing to do with that. I don't either, because most of these people are, well, they're gone. But anyway, so here is where it starts. A through Z, the alphabet, you know your ABCs, right? You've got a good handle on it. And then what you do is, so say Mr. Albert comes in, you take it out, you give it to me or the doctor, whichever one is taking it, and then when we're done, you just put it right back in. It's really quite simple. I think you'll be great at it. It's just so wonderful to have you here. And do you have a handle on it? Do you think any questions at all?
All these days were relatively fun, although a little stressful. Being the person responsible for organizing it, shooting it, and editing it, and making sure that everything I have is in the can. In the can means shot. It's shot. We don't got to worry about it anymore. And if there's something that's not in the can, there's a risk that I won't have all the content needed to complete that episode. And you're going to see an example of that with episode 6, where we didn't get all the content we needed to complete the story or to round the story off. So what you have is you have a 12-minute episode with a very long montage at the end. That's what happens when you're not able to acquire everything you need. So with the exception of episode 6, all these episodes were shot in a day. So like episode 1 was shot on June 10th. Episode 2 was shot July whatever. Episode 3 was shot in July whatever. Then we skipped a few weeks. Episode 4 was shot in August something. Episode 5, August. And then I think while we were shooting episodes 4 and 5, we were shooting some of the 6th episode, in the scenes where Nurse Kitty was, doing her plunger plumbing thing. And you have here Loie and Jack duking it out. I've known Loie a very, very, very long time. I think since she was 14, and she's from the same area in Maine that I am from. And Jack, I met Jack in 2005 when I auditioned him for the Long Island Project, and I've done a lot of projects with old Jackie boy.
Hi, I'm Jack Moran. I play Pixie Man here. Basically, this scene was originally written, and this character has crabs. And it was originally written that he pulls down his pants, and he's got a couple of sea crabs hanging from his junk. But when we tried to actually do that, we didn't think it'd be good for a younger audience, and it really wouldn't appeal to audiences. It'd be kind of offensive. So we kind of cut that out, and we decided to go with this guy's just a Looney Tune, and he's got pixies. And what are pixies? Who knows? But it's just obviously a mentally challenged guy who needs some kind of drugs, and he's obviously in the wrong office. He really does need to be at a psychiatrist, not a actual medical doctor. But That's what the scene was originally intended for.
Yeah, I do see him.
Doc, you gotta help me. You gotta get him off of me.
I am going to get him off you.
Okay?
Listen to me.
Yes.
The thing about pixies, if you kill the queen, they all die.
Okay.
Follow me?
Yes.
Now I gotta find the queen.
There he is!
There it is!
Get him!
We got him!
Get him! Get him! Get him!
That's it! That's it!
That's it?
Down the sink. He's gone.
Down?
Gone.
You sure?
Gone.
One of the things we did was we made this deal that if we could own the content, we would shoot it pro bono. I would pay for the tapes out of my own pocket, and the company would just donate as many resources as it could to the production. Robert, on the other hand, had to sacrifice ownership of the material and finance the food. Because it's an all-day shoot, you do get hungry, and it turned out to be a fairly good deal for everyone. His show got made. We submitted it to as many networks as were willing to let us come through the front door. And it wasn't many, but it was enough, I guess. We also submitted it to several film festivals and their television pilot sections, and it didn't really get anywhere. So the last resort is always just self-publish the DVD, put as much content on it to let people know how much work went into this as possible, and that's what we have here. The airplane thing Jack does here was entirely improv.
Can somebody please give me a diagnosis code for pixies?
Doctor, Jet Savior for you. All right?
Later on, I'm going to talk about, actors and film aesthetics and stuff. I'm just kind of reminiscing to get my mind going, but I just like to say before I forget, everyone did a great job. Everyone. Even those who were fearful of the dialogue. And there were some people who, were used to being extra work or had one or two lines in some movies, or they may have had a lot of lines but thought they failed at those lines, who didn't want to have any lines in this. And I said, if you want to participate in family practice, I know you're doing it for free, but I don't want anybody working who's not going to give us what we need to make this work. Working for free no longer matters if you're just going to be, a deadbeat on the set. I'd rather not be burned that way, You either come to work and give it your all, or you don't come at all. And that's, that's always been the way I approach things. So we're shooting here at a real doctor's office in Bayshore. Time is money. And everybody has to do what they have to do, and no dicking around. You just come here, say the lines I tell you to say, smile, do whatever it is you do, and you're done. That's it. You get your credit. That's worth a credit. And it's not like you're working an assembly line here. You're getting free food and free transportation on a nice sunny day to Long Island. It's not a bad deal, especially in the summer. Who the hell wants to be in New York City in the middle of the summer? These were hot days we were shooting. Nobody wanted to do that.
So one of my favorite parts was just dealing one-on-one with our patients, Bob Aronson being one of the first and definitely one of the most stressful people I've had to work. So serious, so straightforward. I couldn't tell if he was joking or not, and he was kind of scary. And here I am trying to be a sweet little nurse, acting about 50 years older than I actually am. And he was a handful. And I feel bad for nurses because of Bob Aronson. No, he's great. This conversation was a lot of fun. Didn't take us too long, just a few takes. And I think we were just bouncing off each other.
Bob Aronson knows how to pick his ties. I think that's because he was a Teamster, and Teamsters know their ties. Because, when they're driving trucks, they got to wear ties or something. I don't know. Maybe it's a union thing. He's a union guy. No way, what? This albuterol, this whole albuterol discussion that Loie and Bob have hits close to home with me. because I have asthma, and albuterol, generic albuterol, was always the prescription since I can remember. And recently, generic albuterol cannot be sold. Some law got passed that said generic albuterol couldn't be sold in the United States, and there's talk that the makers of Preventil swindled this deal so that they could sell more Preventil. And I find it very interesting, that we had this scene just in time for that whole albuterol ordeal to go down in Congress.
Mr. Winnick, I'll be right back. Mr. Winnick, please.
Hello, Animal Care and Control. Yeah, this is Dr. Framley's office. We've got a man with rabies here. Would you please send someone quickly?
Doctor, I'm sorry. He just snuck right in.
All these actors, the crew, they all did it either for very low pay or for free because they just wanted to see something great happen. And something great did happen. We ended up acquiring the website family-practice.us in August or September of 2009. And I think the first episode, the pilot, went up in either November or December. Whenever our last festival rejection took place, that's when the pilot went up. And the remaining episodes went up on a periodic basis beginning February 2010.
Mr. Winnick, I want you to wait. He bit me! Mr. Winnick!
Oh, my goodness.
He bit me!
Oh, my God.
Stop
Sir,
that.
please.
Stop him.
Stop. No.
Stop him.
Stop. I'm so sorry. Oh,
Sir,
please sit down.
that is not respectful. Well, you can't bite me again.
Here you have
Bite me
Rennie
again.
on the right, and then you have Dan Leeds on the left. I've known Rennie for a very long time. I worked with him, before I started doing this kind of work professionally, when I was working at Virgin Records. Rennie was there too, and we just kind of kept in touch. Dan Leeds I met on a shoot before this one called Juror 3. The spring before this summer that we shot this series, I did a short film called Juror 3, and Dan Leeds was kind enough to help us out on that film, and I brought him back for this one pilot. So this is the chaotic hysteria that kind of ends up encompassing all of the different episodes, pretty much.
Okay, so right now, the animal control officers are going with Dr. Family and Nurse Kitty. And they are going to go have food. Food ended up being one of the central themes in the show, just because it tastes good, really. We started off just having olives and cheese, which is fairly normal, but then we kept on getting stranger and stranger, having it come from all different places over the world, and having him, instead of just going to his local grocery store and buying olives and cheese, he has it shipped to him from everywhere, which I think really displays a lot about that character, how he can't just go to the store and has to make everything so much more complicated.
5 o'clock is always our favorite time on family practice. It meant that we were over and we could all go home. Matthew is the bodyguard. He blows my mind. We need a bodyguard. Love Robert. And so we came up with this thing that we would always leave someone in the office. And I think it's pretty clever. Turn off all the lights. We don't even really lock the door. Really, anyone could just come in if they wanted to. We're like cheerleaders for each other. Nurse Kitty especially is all she does. Positive reinforcement, like, oh, Dr. Family, you're so wonderful. Everything you do is so terrific. And I just love her because, like, just the fresh air of Central Islip makes her happy. And it's like, smell the good flowers, Bunny. Isn't life wonderful? Let's just go enjoy our weekend. And who cares about the patients inside? They have to come back tomorrow anyway because they didn't have their appointment today. Yes, it's so lovely. So that's it for pilot number 1, and I hope y'all enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more.
I hope you enjoyed Pilot 1, both the actual episode and this commentary. And I hope you'll listen to all of the commentaries we have for the rest of the episodes. And there's some very interesting commentaries on this disc. They're not just about the episodes. There's other things too. I won't go into it because we haven't shot them all yet, but or recorded them all. But they're there, so. I'll see you on the next episode. This is Eric Norcross signing off.